hot stream, baby. All right, today is the 9th day of August, 2023. It is 9 o'clock. We are in the Karnes County Historic Courtroom at 101 North Santa Maria Avenue, Suite 200. We do have a quorum present. Let's stand for prayer and pledge and we'll get rolling.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day and every day you give us. We ask you to bring the gift of rain upon our county. We ask that you be with this county today as we go about and deliberate these different needs, and we hope that you can guide us in a direction that is fair to all. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Back up. Okay, item number 5 this morning, citizens to be heard. Do we have anybody signed up to speak, Ms. Sweezy?
Yes, we do. We have 3.
Three. All right, who's up first?
Okay, David Beatrice.
David Beatrice.
Good morning, Court. You know, for a year now, I've been coming to the meetings just so I can get more informed, and we're here all to listen to you guys talk about the budget. And I just think it would be nice if the budget you are reviewing was available to us as we come in so that we could see what you're talking about. It's just another one of these things of transparency to the constituents. A few things you were talking about yesterday, I made some notes and just a few random thoughts. I think it was a good idea to utilize vehicles we have from the sheriff's office to supply the constables. When we have such a deficit in our deputies, do we need to restore as many? Or I think we were talking about buying, what was it, 10 more? I don't know the exact number. But if we had 17 vehicles and only 9 deputies, do we really need 17 more vehicles sitting around? I understand that we want to have a full a crew, but if every other county is having trouble, it seems like we're going to be buying more vehicles that just sit around and rot, as we were discussing. There was some talk about in-house training at Road and Bridge, and I found that when I was running the shop, some of my best employees were employees that I trained from the ground up. And I think in-house training is great, but I agree it's also hard to keep those employees. Once they get fully trained, they want to move on somewhere else. Some larger companies will do things like, if you want to get your CDL, we will pay for your CDL, but you sign a contract with us that says you will work for us for 2 years, or you're going to have to pay us back for your CDL training. Things like that, I think, could be utilized to train people in-house and retain them. Y'all talked about longevity pay. I don't fully understand what longevity pay is. Yeah, I should come and talk to y'all, I guess, and get that answered. One last comment is, it was made yesterday, we are a fringe area, and there are a lot of people that are leaving. It's hard to find people. So just, I'd like to think about what can we do to attract people to the area and then retain them here? What do we need as a county that will keep them in our area? So I look forward to hearing the rest of the discussion today. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, who's up next, Ms. Sweezy?
Judge Corsetla.
Good morning.
Morning.
I stand here as your current longest elected official. So either I'm doing something right or nobody else wants my job. Jury's still out on that one. I have been to many budget hearings. I've been here through times when I, as an elected official, had to beg to make more than the janitors made. I have been here when they asked, it was so tight that we all had to cut our budgets 10%. And I came here with a roll of toilet paper, and I told them, look, I'll use both sides, but I don't have anything to give you. That same year, they asked the sheriff to cut $100,000 out of his budget. And he did the best he could to do it because we were a family. I've been through a hiring freeze, to where if somebody quit, and even if you needed one, you could not hire because the money wasn't there. We have the money now, and that's great. But let's be smart with it. Now I want you to compare something. You all have businesses or have had businesses. You all have wives, you have families. Say that you have your budget, you sit down, and for the year, you decide, this is how much we have and this is how much we're gonna spend of it. We've gotta keep some for Pilon. We gotta keep some for safety. Okay, you all sit down, you turn in your wish list, and you're good with it. You've got that check, you're taking it to the bank, and before you leave to go to the bank, one member shows up and says, Daddy or boss, I want $600,000 more. Do you give it to him just because he wants it? Or do you all have to decide, should I do this or should I do not? Don't let one member of this family overwhelm you. Treat this budget like it's your own. We are all members of this family. We're not Galveston County, we're Karnes County. And please don't give the $760,000 that the JP saved you to another department. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, Ms. Weezy, who's up next?
Tommy Shockley.
I'm Shockley.
Well, first off, I want to tell y'all thank you. I appreciate y'all foregoing your part of the, and I'm talking about Commissioners Court and the elected officials, on the foregoing the raise, if I'm not mistaken. Y'all are going to not take your percentage, is what I'm understanding, unless I'm incorrect, and maybe I am, the way Shelby's looking at me. I watched that video last night at the end of the night, at the end of my night, and I saw what went on. And I wasn't real pleased with some of it, which is nothing new. Let me make this real quick. I've got a couple of things here. Reference to that law enforcement deal yesterday. I was here back in 89 and 90. We were second paid lowest county in the state of, in state of Texas, Karnes County was. $22,000 for 8 deputies. $22,000 was my salary for the year. Now, we've grown, we need more deputies, we've got a lot going on. All I'm asking is, you know, everybody get along, do the best you can, and remember, when Eagleford came in, everything hit good. All law enforcement, save exception, one department, that was the constables. When I talked to Dennis Finner, he was surprised that what y'all are looking at doing now didn't happen then. It should have happened many years ago, even before Eagleford, but it didn't. So I think they ought to get a fresh start like everybody else has whenever they got all that money. When we got that money, I think constables ought to, you know, whether anybody agrees with me or not, I think they ought to get their dues. I'm gonna get real quick to the road and bridge, because the road I was on, that I live on in 182, the state built it, Karnes County built it by state specs, is the impression I'm under from Dale and a couple of other people, and that's part of the reason why Dale's no longer here. TxDOT is TxDOT, we're not CarnesDOT, okay? This isn't CarnesDOT. You can't run it that way. If you do, then you should be building the county roads like TxDOT does, but you're not. You want everything like TxDOT, I shouldn't say you. Road and Bridge wants it like TxDOT, except they're not building the county roads like TxDOT. You can't do that. You can't get one without the other. I don't think that's right. County road that I'm on, well-built. Shelby will tell you it's well-built. He saw to it. So I guess I'm at my 3-minute mark. So, right? Y'all have a good day, gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 6, we're going to convene into our budget workshop for fiscal year 2023-2024.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, all right. First of all, let me thank the judge. I needed a little bit more time
today on this, and I asked our judge if he could give me a little time to go over some things. He said, yes, so here we are. I'm gonna go over what I asked. Thank you, Judge. Okay, it's about the Karnes County Road and Bridge budget line item adjustment request. I know that our engineer came in and asked us if we could take a look at this page here, so we did. Guys, I'm gonna go over, I did a lot of thinking last night, I did thinking on it this morning, I talked to a lot of people, made calls and all that, so this is gonna be what I'm thinking about this page. Now, whatever y'all think, y'all, I wanna hear from y'all, it's up to y'all, but this is only what I'm thinking on. So I'm gonna go, we all have the page, right? I'm gonna start from the top to the bottom. Okay, on the cell phone that was, the cell phones that were requested, I'm not in argument with that one way or another. I'm fine if we have a good engineer, if he believes we need the cell phones out there for safety, then I'm okay with that one. And if y'all vote no, I'm okay with that one. Either way, I'm fine with that one. Okay, the next one on the maintenance text 1, he has 7 texts. I do realize that we're doing on the local capital projects, we're giving a large amount on the local capital projects, so a lot of it's gonna be subbed out. So I believe, in my opinion only, he has 7 texts already. I think that's enough. I'm not gonna go for 4 more texts. Next one, it's on the service manager right there. I know he was asking for a little bit more on the percentage, it's a little bit higher. I talked to a few people talked to me last night. They kind of made the comment about, well, if you're gonna give them more than 3%, that's not fair because you're giving them more than 3% and it's 3% across the board. Well, my comment to them was, we did from a 40 to a 45,000 yesterday on the constable, so we've already gone over the 3% on an employee from the county, so that doesn't apply to this. I said, but I hear y'all. I hear y'all, and I'm doing my homework. So on that one, when the salary survey committee met last year, correct me if I'm wrong, anybody that was on the salary survey committee, I wasn't, but this is what came down to me. The first year was gonna be salary adjustments. This year was gonna be the longevity, and then the next year was gonna be the STEP program. There wasn't supposed to be any raises this year because of the adjustments, the largest adjustments we did last year. But the 3% hit us this time, I'm okay with that. I understand the cost of living. I understand that. I understand it's like almost 5 and we're giving 3. I'm okay with that. But it's not originally what was discussed in the salary committee. Okay, so on that one right there with the service manager, I believe, on my opinion only, leave it at the 3% for now. And next year, the salary survey committee is gonna reevaluate that, and if some of these aren't up to par, they'll raise them up to where they think they need to. On the next one, on the inspectors, my belief only, it was right here, asked for 2 of them, and on them, I believe keep it with 1, keep it at the 3%. I'm not for giving in another inspector. I'm not saying that our engineer does not need it. Maybe I need to be out there more to see his part, because he's out there every single day, and I'm sure that he wouldn't be asking for it if he didn't need it. So maybe this year I need to go out there and be a little bit more out there with him. And maybe we all need to spend some time with those inspectors out there to see if next year we do need another inspector and we can make that decision easier. And I'm sorry I wasn't out there more with these inspectors, but I will this year. Okay, on the foremen and supervisors, I believe just they're good, just give them the 3% like everybody else. On the CDL training and safety coordinator, I don't believe that we need something like that. That's in Carmel and Galveston County. I'm not saying that it would not work, and I understand our engineer explained it perfectly, and he's a professional at what he does, but me sitting here on the court, I can't make that decision because we're gonna be training people, at least 50 to 75% of those people will train them and they're gonna go elsewhere for higher paying jobs. That's what my belief is. Again, guys, this is only my belief on this request. On the computer expense, no, because I'm not going for another inspector, so no. On the local capital projects, he has it here, but that's already in there, so that's fine. The next one is the building repairs / maintenance and equipment acquisitions. Those right there were given for the building repairs, the building that we just purchased. If we don't, Tom, correct me if I'm wrong, if we don't make that a line item now, then they're gonna go into the funds of road and bridge, but they'll have to re-request that for the buildings next year. So I would like to request that now in the budget to keep those in there for what we originally requested them for this year. Am I correct, Tom? Okay, those two, I would like to request those to move on in the same line item so he can keep that to do the building, so we don't have to bump heads at the start, at sometime this year that he re-needs those. Okay, next on the emergency response. Right now it has 0 in there, but I would like to take out of the maintenance projects. The maintenance projects is 4,192,300. I would like to take 500,000 out of there, move that to the emergency response. Again, this is just me. Okay, and then we go to the emergency response court order. He has that on there, but it's already in there, so just leave that alone. We go to the maintenance projects. That would be reduced. I would like to reduce that to the $3,692,300, the way I'm saying it. Okay, the next one, management overtime budget for emergency response. He's asking for $5,000 on that. I do understand that. When we do have emergencies, I would like to give them the time and a half that they needed, because they're gonna be out there at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, 1 o'clock in the morning. If it starts raining at 6 o'clock in the afternoon and it rains till 2 o'clock in the morning, that's when these men are gonna be out there. The reason I know that is because I served road and bridge 8 years on the county roads. So I was out there with these men barricading bridges, barricading roads and all that. So I know, I don't mind that. Now, the next one, I'll go back to that one in a second. Managed overtime budget for CDL driver support, only my belief. I don't believe 60,000. I believe what we should do is go back to the managed overtime budget for emergency response, make that 10,000 and cover everybody, CDL drivers and everything. And if it's not enough, then we'll reevaluate it next year. If it's too much, we'll reevaluate it next year. I know we have a professional, engineer. He's gonna let us know everything. I talk to this engineer almost daily, and I don't know about the other commissioners, but from what I hear, they talk to him daily. So he is in contact with us almost daily. One of our favorite times is Sundays or late Saturdays. So I really stay in contact with our engineer that we have. Guys, let me see. Okay, that's my take on his request here. I don't know what y'all think.
I agree with everything you said.
Do you see what I'm seeing here?
You said to take the proposed managed overtime budget for CDL driver support, you were removing that?
I'm taking that out and just putting 5 more into the managed overtime budget for emergency response, so that makes that 10,000, and I'm taking out the 60,000, but I'm leaving the 5 and adding 5 from the other. It just makes it. The only changes that I made were the ones that, did you catch? Yes, I'm sorry if I said something wrong.
So would I be able to use some of the emergency response for the CDL driver line item, or are you just saying increase it for just the emergency?
The emergency response, if I'm correct, is only for the road materials and road stuff like that. This other one, the managed overtime budget, is just for the people.
I misspoke. No, I was saying, are you saying that the additional $5,000 in the managed overtime budget for emergency response be used for CDL drivers? No, I'm
Yes, that's what I'm doing it for. That way, there's enough money there for any employee in road and bridge, not just single out CDLs for 60,000, single out everybody else for 5,000, make it 10,000, and put them all in the group. Okay. And of course, that's just my take on it. It's whatever y'all want to hear from y'all, whatever y'all think.
Judge, you might say something?
Absolutely.
Thank you. You know, I heard what Tommy said, and I want everybody to understand that most of our county roads that have been built here in our county have been built with grant money from the state. And with that came some caveats. You had to follow state specs, because as you did the job, the money you had to send all the reports back to the state, and if it didn't meet their specs, then you guess what? You wouldn't get paid. You wouldn't get reimbursed for nothing. So that's why, yes, we've mixed cement into the roads, and we had an outside engineer designing everything. And he brought in his own inspectors in to take care of those roads, if they were there at all. So here comes Mr. Geisler. He's a certified engineer, accredited, registered, and he's over here, he takes over the design work for all the roads. He tries to put, and I knew whenever we hired an engineer, when you have engineers, if you ever worked with them, there's always some ancillary things that are gonna follow. And one of the things that we created was the inspectors, because the inspectors were following TxDOT's, following the specifications that were written by Mr. Geisler and had to be submitted to the state for approval. And currently, we're waiting on some money, I hope, from the state for approval for some of the roads that were done. But I kind of agree with James. I'm the same way. I really don't, cell phones don't bother me one way or the other. The maintenance tech, you know, we have what we have, but would I like to see more people sometimes, because we don't have enough to, like everybody's here crying about, we don't have enough shredding done, we don't have enough blading done, we don't have enough watering done, so they try to do what they can do. Inspectors, I've always said that I think we had one is enough, but sometimes, yes, there is two. Foreman supervisors, as James said, they all do great jobs. The training thing by the CDL, to me, I would like to see something like that one day, but not at this time. We've given them, the big thing is this year that Road and Bridge has got that new facility, and they're in the process of getting it up and running. And most important is that I know that Road and Bridge are always called to, can you get your guys to come move this? Can they come move that? Well, you know what, maybe maybe have to stop or something, I don't know, because that's taken away from Road and Bridge all the time. I know I'm bad about using them for the San Antonio River Authority all the time when we have our tire day. But, and the only way if we couldn't use those guys, we couldn't get that thing done. And San Antonio River Authority has said that. So I'm glad about the overtime for that, if we could use some of that for that. But otherwise than that, I'm happy with just exactly what James said. Him and I have talked, and I'm pretty happy with what it is.
I agree as well. I think what you outlined, Commissioner, is where it needs to be and what we need to go forward with.
So what was the agreement on the cell phones? Because I kind of threw it out there and it didn't matter either or. Do y'all want to do the cell phones or just leave them out?
I think leave them in there.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm okay with that.
Could an iPad work instead of a computer? Wayne? Could an iPad work instead of a computer?
We'll evaluate that. I'll put a computer in there, a workstation, but right now I'm in the process of implementing the iWork software. And honestly, the type of device these days, I'm gonna look at it and make sure the functionality is there to justify the best one. That's just, technology is technology. You get the best tool. And whenever I thoroughly implement the iWork software, I'll know what the best tool is.
All right.
Judge, that's all I got to say about the judge. Thank you very much.
Got it all.
Judge, I wanted to bring up, if I could, it was brought to my, from a constituent, in the salary committee workshop, we discussed the paying, the insurance for the retirees until they got to the retirement age, and I just wanted to know, is that built into the budget somewhere?
I don't believe that we put that in the budget to increase it. No, what Commissioner Geisler is talking about is, and I don't think you were in that meeting, Ms. Sweezy was in that meeting, and I think it was something that was brought up by her and our treasurer, I believe, about covering the insurance for a retiree until they turn until they qualify for Medicare, Medicaid.
Yeah, whichever one it is. I
And
think-
so I'm okay with that just because if you retire, I mean, really, how many, I think that Ms. Sweezy said there would be one or two maybe?
Four at the most is what.
Four at the most, four, is that right, Sylvia? Until, and how old are those four that have retired from the county? But I mean, but the ones that, I mean, are they 4 years out from qualifying or are they?
I think most of them are 4 or maybe 5 years. They, the just retired,
Mhm.
so she would be 5 years.
5 years, yeah.
Would you have to say like you're at reached social security age, then you would give them the chance to retire? I mean, give them that.
Once they
benefit?
qualified, then they're off of us.
Okay.
Yes, once they turn 65 or a month before they turn 65, they're able to get Medicare, and that's when they let us know that they no longer need the.
Right.
Judge Maskey, yes, in Wilson County, we did the same thing, and I think it's a good perk for the
Yeah.
retirees.
I do too.
To get the insurance until they're 65, it's not that much cost to the county,
Correct.
Okay,
so we can incorporate that as well.
Yeah, just amend that into the budget.
I think that's good.
While we were talking about Road and Bridge, Tom, did you want to address the issue with the money?
Yeah, 800.
With the
Shelby, you want to?
raises.
No.
No, currently, right now, Road and Bridge is what, under 800,000 in the hole?
Yeah, so Road and Bridge currently, where is it? Currently, Road and Bridge, their unencumbered funds for the Road and Bridge is 20,202,901.71. That's as of last year. We're still expecting some more money coming in from CTIF this year, of like 2,391,535.80. So the way the budget is set up, Mr. Geisler set his budget of 23 million, so he will have to dip into that unencumbered fund to make up the total expenses and so forth. So he's got the fund reserves there to use to fund his operations for next year. But that fund, that number will go down eventually as we use the remaining balance from each year. There's 20 million there right now, and in which he will be bringing in 13 next year to balance his budget for next year. And most of that has to do with additional capital projects, which I understand needs to be done.
I see all the constables are here. Did anybody want to say or take care? Are we through Road and Bridge?
I'm good. I'll roll
What
with
was
Road
that?
and Bridge.
I'm sorry?
You through with Road and Bridge?
Yes.
I talked with, forgive Judge, may I speak? I talked with Judge Whitman this morning. I just asked him out of curiosity what his constables made over there and what their status was. And he informed me, I think they're paying them 43,000. They get a new vehicle this year and they patrol all the time. They're full-time. He said they work accidents, they do the whole, like a deputy does. So they were gonna, he told me they were gonna pay them what the deputies make, but I don't think the deputies there make 43. Do they, Sheriff? Okay. He was gonna pay them what those deputies make over there, because he said they work full-time. I just want to throw that out there. And yesterday, just so y'all all know, we talked about vehicles. And you had 3 2021s? 21s. And 122 that's getting decked out right now? Yes. Okay.
Yes, would it, please.
Morning.
Good morning.
I don't like doing this, 30-some odd years of coming up here and groveling. When we presented this, we met with Ms. Lacy, bless her soul. She walked us through it. We met with a couple commissioners, we walked through it. One of them decided to skip out that day. Regardless, things happen. 2 of them sat there and listened to us. They were all in agreement that day. So we come up with what they asked for, just to get slapped. That's fine. Mr. Rosales, you have your opinions. I understand that. You've had many scrapes, and you'll have more.
Yes, sir.
Okay? You have your opinion. All I'm asking for is a fair shake. When I started this business, I didn't care what it paid. I really don't now. It's just an embarrassment. Everybody here was at $1,200 a month. I got elected. St. John died on me. It should have never happened. The commissioners didn't want to put me in because they didn't want to say that they were siding with me during that election. I'm not saying that Rex would be here now, but he could be if I had been put in. They waited for March the 20th. They swore me in on March the 21st. He died on the 29th of February that year. I would have been on that street. I would have been at that intersection. He might still be with us today. But it was a bonehead decision. I've had to come up here and ask for radios, got slapped around. 1 week into the business, they cut my salary to $300 a month, $50 for fuel. Why? We're gonna hire some deputies. For so many years, they did it with a chief deputy, a sheriff, and 4 deputies on the street. Your constables were covering the county. I was answering calls in Falls City. Your commissioner was calling me over to work burglary calls in Falls City and clear houses because your deputy had to transport to Jordanton. I don't need to speak all of it. These guys behind me know what's going on. Dwayne was one of us. He knows what we went through. I'm not asking for $1 million. I'm asking for a fair shake. You want to provide vehicles? I can slash that by 20 or 30,000. Why? You don't need a decked out patrol car. You don't need a high-speed car on a county road. Your county roads are not designed for 30 miles an hour. Why do you want a high-speed vehicle on that? I work county roads. Why? Because that's all I have on my end. I don't have these fancy business districts. I don't have Walmarts. I don't have none of that. All of my stuff's on the back county roads. I do not need a Tahoe for that. You can go buy a regular 4-wheel drive pickup off stock for about $39 through the government board or a fleet board, and you can get them, because I can get them that way. I've done it. You don't need to listen, oh, you need to have that full deck car. We already have our radios. We already have our lights. I have to put emblems on mine so I can make traffic stops. I don't write any tickets unless I have to. You piss me off, you're going down. But understand that the ticket doesn't stay in the county. It goes to TxDOT. I'm not working for TxDOT. We had a system that would stop trucks. There's your problem. Get the system back in that stops these trucks and gets the money back into the county instead of leaving. We've got 18-wheelers in my little community nonstop. 2 of you guys came down there to set a tower south of town. You saw what that looked like. It's a freaking circus. Just imagine that all day and all night. Yes, you can send officers over there. You can park them at the intersection with what's going out in the county. Honest, I will tell you that if he was here today, he'd be flipping. I guarantee you there's people that were on this commission before that made their own decisions that hurt a lot of us. You have a chance to correct a problem. You don't correct it today, that's fine. It'll be back tomorrow. It'll be here next year. It'll be here when you're gone. I might not be here. You're not going to be here for damn sure. I mean, we don't live forever. But what I'm trying to tell you is correct the issue. All of y'all sitting at 60-something thousand. Your upper echelons in the 80s and 90s. So where's the issue? You want to come back part-time? Read that. Read that. You're allowing those people that you're trying to hire to work part-time. That's what you're doing. They make more money on part-time than they make working here. And then you want to push that. Think. You got 4 guys on the street. You can have them now on the street. Yes, you're going to come back. Well, you got other jobs. What are you doing there? You read that. I don't have to show it to you again. Understand that you have 4 guys, some of them very elite, very well trained, and not just law enforcement. I carry a trauma bag. I did 5 years with EMS. I've done high-rise rescue. I've done water rescue. I've got all that under my belt. I don't tell people that shit. I just keep it to myself. Understand that we've all had to cross-train to where we're at. It's not, oh, you're just going to go write tickets and put up cows all day long. You have some good deputies. You have some damn good officers, but you keep losing them. And it's not the money, man. It's not the money. Treat them a little better and they'll stick around. They'll eat the shit, because we've all eaten the shit. You're in a situation now, in the old days, oh, they got to stay, there's no more jobs. There's jobs everywhere, buddy. And put it to that way. The private securities, everything's out there. Everything's out there. You can go latch on with a school right now if you want to. You can go latch on with a hospital if you want to. If you really wanted to step on some toes, you could do that. All right? I came to the judge when we were having trouble with the schools. You got 4 constables. You could have set up all 4 constables with the schools. That fell on deaf ears, did it not? Did it not? You could have provided the budget for the constables to run the schools. The schools pay the county, not individuals, pay the dang county, and the county takes the profit. I know it fell on deaf ears on a couple of you, but I just wanted to speak my mind. But as far as vehicles, you can get by. You want to use the junk, you use the junk. All right? Yeah, they're certified. They got 20,000 miles. Big shit. You got $3,200 in there to repair it. That's not enough. I can tell you that now. Take it to Bobby Alexander one time. It's $2,500 just to drive in. So that gets shot out of the water. $63,000 for a pickup truck that is police package. That's what we asked for. And they got bucked because you can't get them for, what, 8 months, 6 months? That was the say. You can get a stock vehicle. You don't have a game warden have a problem with that, does he? They drive a regular stock 4x4. Like I said, I don't know what was cut, what was done. I wasn't here yesterday because we didn't expect to get a knife and get it twisted. You can ask your auditor how excited I was when I saw this. I had to go outside and make sure I wasn't dreaming. And I've said my piece. I don't know if the other fellows want to tell you what I think, but you have a chance to correct a wrong. And you can always look the other way and follow one or follow the guidance of somebody else. But this county is set up with checks and balances. You have a check and balance. You want to get rid of the check, you go right ahead. But don't come back and say, we should have done this, we should have done that. I had Judge Pierce, bless his soul, catch up with me after he swore me in the last time. His exact words, I should have gave you what you needed. And that's all we're asking for. Body cam. I keep hearing my body cams at the jail. I'd like to know what year model it was. Because when they issued this thing out, they didn't want to buy it because we had to have a place to unload it. We had to download this stuff. Nobody thought of that. I'll bring them in. They shoved 30 of us into the jury room over there, showed a 2-minute slide up there. Now we're all certified to carry a body cam. We get them. We never got to see them. Why? Because we have no way to download it. You think somebody else wants to keep my evidence? I sure as hell wouldn't want to trust them. I got to go to court and stand up with it. I'm not about to hand it over to anybody. They won't do the same for me. So the body cam issue keeps coming up. The unit cameras keep coming up. But yet state law keeps pushing these mandates. We have no funds. You have the funds. Sorry, fellas, if I pissed anybody off, but that's just the way it is. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much.
Oh, yeah, this is my first rodeo, so the only thing I gotta say is, in order to do the proper job, we gotta have the proper equipment. And I've told each one of y'all, we gotta have the proper equipment. So you do have individuals that wanna come out and work. I understand I am full-time with the city, but I do come out in the evenings when I gotta go serve papers. I do check out on the radio, and I do what needs to be done. So with that being said, give us the right tools to go out and work, and we'll be out there. Okay?
Thank you.
Unless I'm missing something, I don't think we cut anything they asked. I think every body cam, I mean, whatever the weapons, the radar, the cam for the vehicle, whatever, I don't remember what all that was now, but I don't think none of that was cut.
When I was issued through the auditor's office, that's a zero.
For what?
Body cam system, zero.
Well, understand those body cams that were bought by the court are the same ones that the sheriff uses. We bought them in 2019. And it's my understanding y'all have never gone down there to even get them. And I know you're gonna say, because there's no computer to download them. I understand that. And I think we're gonna try to fix that. But nobody's ever gone down to the sheriff's office to get those cameras. Why? Because, well, I always was told, I ain't gonna go down there. I don't wanna go to the sheriff's office. So we need to learn how to play together first.
Sir, I live next to that thing for years. But what I can tell you is the date of that camera, because I've contacted that camera company. They told me they were obsolete a while back. They replaced them 2 or 3 times already. So which camera did you get? The modern one or the one that's way back in that's still sitting in the damn trash?
Sheriff, what cameras y'all got?
That might be the ones from back in 19. We've updated some, but all they have to.
But theirs never have been up. Did y'all get cameras for them when y'all updated?
When we updated last, no.
Okay, so he is right then. The cameras they have are obsolete.
We just gotta look at it and see, yes, sir. If they are, if y'all wanna get them for him, Shelby, all y'all gotta do is order them,
Okay.
period.
Here's the thing, if we have the cameras, we're required to use. There are certain, there's retention rules on how long you have to keep, depending on what kind of footage, what kind of crime is covered, whatever. If we don't have the means for storage, there's no reason to have it. Because then we would be in violation of retention.
There's a computer in the budget for that.
There is now.
It's been there. Everything the judge put in, that y'all asked for, it was put in.
I presented y'all, I presented the commissioner's court, the budget that the constables presented me.
So the budget that y'all presented to the judge, that includes everything y'all feel y'all would need going forward?
Yeah, I met with, you guys go and this is the next.
Let me go through this so everybody understands. Cell phone, $600. Fernando, you got longevity pay, $7,000. You've been around a while. Vehicle travel allowance went to zero. Fuel was $5,000. Radio repairs, $2,060. Computer expense, $750. Vehicle repairs, $3,200. Training, $2,000. Body camera system, we just talked about that in there. Vehicles, $63,187. Ammo, $500. Vehicle equipment, $10,301.40 to include vehicle wrap, the camera system, radar unit, and radar installation. And duty weapons, $2,238. I think the judge did a great job with all that.
I didn't,
I know, but you put 'em
met
in.
with them and I fully support them. In the times that we're in, the more law enforcement that we can have on the street, and these men know their county. They know what they're doing, and I agree with them. They, give them what they need. That's why I put it in there.
Exactly what we did. I think we've done that. And then the only problem we struggled with yesterday was trying to get vehicles to get you out in the field as quick as we could. Constable Kunchik said he was happy with a Tahoe. But again, with the pickup, we're always told that if you don't have the police package in it, then we're liable for what you would do. Are you gonna be responsible for anything in your pickup that's not a police package?
So you're transferring a vehicle, if this were to happen, and I'm liable for that vehicle. Okay? That's understood. Would you take a used vehicle and put it on the street? That's what you gotta start thinking. You would do it to your own men now.
But
So why would you do it? Am I substandard to you? You told me yourself.
20,000 mile is not a substandard vehicle. It's just something we have parked there. We got nobody to put in it.
Where did it come from?
From the county, from the sheriff's office?
And who had it before that?
The sheriff's office?
That's understood. You're just repeating that incident. What I'm trying to get at is if the vehicle is there, great. Right now, I have to use my own. I've got my own emblems on it. The only reason it's got emblems is so I can make traffic stops. That's the only reason, traffic control stops. Do I transport? No. I've had doors kicked in, I've had them broke in. I walk in the commissioner's court and I'm told, my last swear today. There's no insurance for me from the county. You got an automobile insurance that covers you, it doesn't cover me. Anything happens to me, it's my insurance. My insurance is the one that sends me letters about the markings and the like. Anytime you put lights on a vehicle, doesn't matter if it's a county work vehicle, it just became an emergency vehicle. Once those lights come on. I'm trying to get at is that you have a chance to correct this, not dig it deeper.
How correct it? Tell me how to correct it.
Well, these young men, and I will call them young, because I've been here long enough, and I've already told you at the beginning of this crazy. And I don't expect you to pay for the sins of the idiots that were here before you. And I use that word loosely. You have a chance to correct it. When I first met Ms. Lacy, we spent 3 hours. She was literally crying. She was hurt that bad when I told her the story of what has happened in this county, in Commissioner's Court meetings. She says, I will correct it. A year later, trying to correct it. If it wasn't for her demise, we wouldn't be going through this. Now, back to your salary. These young men came up with that number for a reason. Right? They are trying to get it back to what it used to be. You have the option to get it. The reason I'm here, I got a phone call that, hey, they knocked it down to 45. They want to throw a used vehicle at you. Poor Commissioner Geisler heard. Dealing with this and dealing with councils on this. I told him, I said, why would I go after a used vehicle? If there's a chance to get a new one until the old one, use the old one till the new one gets here, you sit. Attention is, give it to them, and when I get it, I'm getting a new one from me. We keep going to Tahoes. Goliad, Keywood County, pickup trucks, Chevys. Chevys. Patrol units. Why? Because when they're done, they pass them down to their maintenance people. You're gonna trade them out at 70,000, 80,000 anyway. They get a truck that they can use. Can they use a Tahoe out there? Yeah, you have a few for probation departments or whatever. I'm trying to get at is that we can work a little smarter if we all got together. Instead of closed session, closed meeting, decision made before we even walk in. Happens all the time. Okay? The number 45 is, where did that get picked from? Last year, that 28% didn't come out of nowhere. You were behind now.
Excuse me?
28% increase from last year for your salary.
I think you got an increase too.
Number you came up with today. You keep coming time you take the taxes out, I give you 17 cent raise. What the hell out of it? Things have gotten better, the funds are there. 2012 is when it really came in. We knew it was coming in 07. We knew it was already coming. But if our ancestors would wake up and see the way we're turning this thing down, instead of making it better. I'm not saying that the salary will make it better, but it'll make it a lot easier on the street. You basically take 6,000, roll it into the salary, and you come back with 5 on the bottom. Like, you're technically paying us 46, but we take care of our own stuff. You ever had to buy a set of tires? 18s, yeah, we go buy the cheap stuff. We buy, you're looking at $1,200, $1,400 for a set of tires. At least 3 or 4 oil changes a year, $100 away. That's not included in here. A couple years back, did a survey, had people come in and do their numbers. They were almost crying when they let you put a survey out the door. Prior to they put a survey out the door, they didn't want you to see it. Because the numbers didn't jive. Young man and myself are asking for a fair shake. I'm gonna pay you deputy $58,000, work 2 jobs, go right ahead. That's what that piece of paper is in here doing. All we're asking for is give us a fair shake. I don't know what that number is, but I'm damn sure it ain't 45,000.
Well, 45 came from Senate Bill 22.
Yeah, that's the minimum, is it not?
It is, the minimum.
And you haven't.
And the minimum is that's exactly, because the grant could help pay for some of that. But I guess we can throw that out then, huh?
Yeah, the 45 should have been tossed out again. I was approached by one.
So-
guy and told me, what if I give you 4,000?
So what is, what do you think is a fair number?
Well, we come to the consensus.
What is a fair number?
The number you have on paper, sir.
45, huh? 55.
That is the number you have on paper.
All
That
right,
was the
Sheriff,
number-
do you want your people to make less than 55?
When it comes to my budget, then we'll talk about it. That's between you.
I'm just asking, because what's gonna happen is, if it would go to 55, your deputies make less than 55. Huh?
On paper, it is. On paper, it is.
That's what the salary is right now, 53.
On your paper.
So what other paper is there?
You don't have access to any of our tax returns.
Well, I don't have to ask, what y'all do off the job is y'all's business.
Bingo. You just answered your own question.
No,
What we do on our own time is our business. You just answered your own question. Understand that the office of the constable, as long as he gets his duties done, you don't hear my judgment. I get my duties done. I even get my paper served within hours. Eviction within days. You can go and look at my records. You can see them. I've got them. They check them every so often.
you know what, maybe
It's
I,
not one of these, okay, I need you 8 to 5. Where did you hear that? In the days before we had the system now, I would get phone calls 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm on the street, I'm picking up dead bodies, I'm doing what I gotta do, I gotta do the triage. You didn't have what you have now. So what do? Hey, let's discard these SOBs and let's do this. This is basically what you're saying to me. So don't come back and say, well, this is part-time. There's no such thing as part-time anymore. All of us, 3 or 4 jobs. You y'all got cattle?
do what?
Anybody doing something else other than commission, emergency management, whatever your businesses are, there's 300 of those. And one of them I won't even mention in here. Because I don't want to start a stir. But what I'm trying to
You can
say
mention
is that
anything
we
you
all
want.
we all have something else going on in our lives. So don't come back, well, they're part-time, this is the reason. Always. If I wasn't doing my job, you don't think my public would have said, get out the door? I've had people put people up against me and get slapped by about 73% of the vote. No, I'm not cocky, I'm just telling you how it is. Correct it, we just kick us out the door, we just go about our business. We just keep doing what we gotta do.
Unless I miss Judge Kuzekwa, when y'all give us a report monthly, you give us 2 totals. One is kept by the county and one is kept by the state, correct? So your statement about it all goes to TxDOT is wrong.
You know, if I write a ticket
if the,
If I write a ticket, that ticket gets sent to Austin. Now, the only thing that stays here is the court cost. If the ticket's $130 court cost, $100 goes to Austin. What did you accomplish for this county? Court cost. The fee that's gonna come back for training, which you finally put money in for training this time around, if it stays. Didn't happen before. We relied on the lowest money, state money. We were required to take a 20-hour class every other year. We were required to take a 40-hour class in Huntsville every 4 years, plus all the firearms training and everything we gotta qualify every year. Every one of us is within state specs and everything we gotta, education-wise, everything. So when you come back and you make these remarks, it's like, okay. All I'm asking is to take another look at this and figure out where these numbers came from, and what you can do to correct. 45, granted, is better than 28. Because I spent many years looking up at the janitors, looking up at the cooks, and that only got corrected because you had to bring everybody before. At 1920 so-called poverty level, I tell you, that poverty level is changing again. That 1920 doesn't work anymore. It's probably in the $21 to $22 bracket. You have to go buy a gallon of milk and the rest of your kids. Anyway, thanks for your time. I'll try to stay out of it.
Judge?
Yes.
Yeah. We as a commissioners court here, well, I speak for myself, but it's the court. We're always questioned on what we do and what we do for our salary, what we do for our pay. It's a daily thing. They ask me, if I go have dinner somewhere, they ask me. If I go, anywhere I go, I'm questioned on what I do and what I do for my salary. I'm an elected official. I chose to be an elected official. So, I know you made a couple of comments, so what I'm asking you is, Constable Rios, you have a full-time job during the day. Okay, you have 3, 4, you got, but I.
My farm and my animals, I go out there every day. I make my rounds, and I do evictions on Saturdays and Fridays.
I let you talk. If you could be respectful, let me talk.
I'm trying to tell you that I end
Judge?
up backing most of your deputies out here on stuff, and they back me.
Fernando, let him talk.
That's fine.
I gave you your chance. Okay, I was very respectful. Okay, you have a full-time job with Corn City. All right. I think what the public wants to know, that's what they're asking me. I'm not saying that a constable is not worth $40,000, $50,000, $60,000, $80,000. I'm not. But I have to answer for what I do in public, because people ask me in public. So I'm asking you in public. You have a full-time job. You said you serve papers, you do everything. I'm not a constable. I don't know exactly what you do. But you're gonna get out of your job at 5 o'clock. You're gonna start your constable job, right? Okay. Wouldn't people prefer you to go during the day, hand out everything you're gonna do? You're gonna be hitting people at 9, 10 o'clock at night? So when are you gonna do your job as a constable? Yeah, I answer in public.
That's what I'm asking. I know you're not gonna catch anybody at 5, everybody's working in school. When you serve your papers, an empty door. Fine. First question. Second, is I guarantee you haven't been in my community to ask my kids. They would have run you out of Dallas as soon as you ask it. They see me moving around. Right now, I'm working on the post office for the last 8, 9 days, and then nuts, I still have to put the roofing material. But I was asked to make rounds to make sure nobody took their stuff. I'm on the post office, but I was asked by another agency, so I've been doing it. If you read any of those reports that I turned in, you would see the numbers. I don't need to see those numbers, they're there. They're there. And you can go back and you can check. I picked up a check a little while ago for a deposit for an eviction. I gotta drive from point A to Fall City to a bank and put it in. Why? Because I'm the only constable or other agent that has to do his own deposits. None of that came into play with, oh, we're gonna move everything to Fall City Bank, Fall City. I have a problem driving to Fall City, gotta go that way now. But that came into play. My people see me, they call my house. Half the calls I answer off the radio. Why? I want one in the back. Okay? work with Rudy. I work with some of those other guys. I work with the Charlie Whites. I work with some good officers, man. They taught me well. Whitman taught me well. Whitman taught me how to do a couple stakeouts. He taught me how to do a couple buys. He worked me through a lot of stuff. What I'm trying to tell you, James, is that I do my job. If I gotta do it during the day, I can leave. I'm on salary. These are all salary positions.
Okay.
Right now, I've got 3 to 4 months of sick leave. I can walk out the door for 3 months and walk back. Will I do it to this community? No. The water, everything has to be running in this community. I didn't take this job like when I tore my hand and I swore under Judge Reed, the man, Howard Roberts, I swore back on September 1st, 1984. But Noni Savetsky is my witness. The first thing I know is you're not going to shoot one of my kids. That's the only fact. Okay. Why I bring this up? There was an oath. There's an oath that you take every time you walk in. I mean, your life changes when you take that oath. No more goddamn partying. No more running around. You go home, you answer the call. For a while, I was the only one that was listed in the freaking phone book. Until it got stupid with Southwestern Bell, so I now wrote to cell phone. But what I'm trying to get to you, James, you're asking, are you doing your job? Nobody's complaining that I'm aware of. My judge is not complaining. He's who I
That's
asked
not,
to.
that,
The report that I give you, I'm not even required to give it to you. You're only supposed to get a financial numbers. Treasury visa.
I didn't ask if you were doing your job. I asked, how will you be doing your job after hours? That was the question.
So we can answer.
And so I think you've already answered me. You said you're on salary and you can leave anytime you want. So, and you're treating us your experience. We know your experience. I know your experience. So let me go to the next question because you answered the question that I directed to you. Okay. You mentioned that the vehicles that we have for the sheriff's department that you used in the same sentence, junk. You used that they're used cars that you wouldn't, if we would put them on the streets. They're parked there with 20,000 miles. When we get more, if hopefully we get more deputies, everything works, they're gonna jump into those vehicles and use them. I mean, we are gonna use them again. But you said, would we use them? Of course we'd use them. They got 20,000 miles on them. But you referred to them as junk. Why would you refer to them as junk?
I don't know the history. I've seen people tear up a car with 300 miles. And
I
it's
understand.
why? Because they floorboarded the hell out of it and got it to 140 when it was brand new and didn't do the braking on it.
All the vehicles in the sheriff's department are maintained. They have maintenance records on them and everything, so they're not, I know that, like you said at the start, it's my opinion, I have my opinion, you have your opinion. They're junk, but it's like I stated yesterday, it's for the taxpayers. Understand, you said where you said, I said where I said, you have your job, I have my job. Okay. I go out there and I go, yeah, man, I'm not saying you don't deserve it. I go out and say, let's buy these guys, man, brand new trucks, they buy them, equip them and everything. Somebody's gonna come and say, hey, man, the sheriff's not fully staffed. He has plenty of vehicles there. Why didn't you get those? For the taxpayers, that's what I say you should get. And that's bottom line, period. I'm not gonna buy new vehicles when we have vehicles there that you can use just because you think they're junk. That's not gonna happen, not with me. I don't get intimidated because somebody walks up to me. No, I'm telling you that in my opinion, only my opinion, y'all are gonna get the vehicles from the sheriff's department. That's my opinion. If you want a vehicle that's fully loaded, you're not gonna get a new one. What, I mean, you know, and let me see.
Commissioner, I think those vehicles from the sheriff's office work just fine.
Thank you.
They're better than what we have right now.
We're trying to help. We're trying to move y'all up. You know, we're trying to help out. Salaries, I don't know what you're worth. You don't know what I'm worth because you don't stand in my boots. I don't stand in your boots. You know, so I'm not really sure. I know that Commissioner Dubnik threw out 45,000 yesterday. He does a lot of research. He's a good commissioner. I agreed with the 45,000. You know, maybe I need to go out there with you on, you know, I understand that you stood out here and you said 55 is more acceptable. I don't mind going a little bit more. I just kind of want to know, and I'm not trying to put anybody on the spot. And I know that you're not nowhere's in the constable thing, it says you gotta work 40 hours, 80 hours, 20 hours, 100 hours, right? It just says you gotta do your job, same as the county commissioner. Okay, it's just that you approach me, you asked me a couple of questions here in court in public, so I'm asking you in public too. It's, you know, it's fair. All I asked was, you're gonna be on the roads at night. You're gonna be on the weekends for these vehicles, because even if they're not brand-new vehicles like your wish list wants, it's not, you know, it's a wish list. I understand everybody has it. But, you know, I'm gonna give you that vehicle. And I mean, that's what you get from me at Commissioner's Court. You don't get a new vehicle. So how are you gonna use that vehicle? Is it gonna be sitting there, or are you gonna use it at night, but you're tired, you work all day with the city? So what's the county gonna get for that vehicle, for giving you a $70,000 vehicle? What's that county gonna get? Are they gonna get 2 or 3 hours a night, or are they gonna get Saturday and Sundays? I think that's just transparency. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I sit here and I'm wrong, but I think that's transparency. Y'all want transparency from us? And we sit here in this court and we give you as much transparency as we can. I want transparency from y'all. What are we gonna get for a $70,000 vehicle for more money? You mentioned something about 28% in me last year or whatever. You went from 28,000 to 40,000. I don't know what the percentage of it right now is, and you want even a higher percentage. So, you know, you gotta look at it both ways. I'm just approaching you the way you approached me. That's all I'm doing. So what do we get for a car? What do we get? What do we get?
Right now, you're probably getting 36 to 42 hours.
Okay.
Which is more than I can say.
Your opinion. We're getting into some argument, Judge.
Yeah, and
I don't
we're
think this is not good for your
Yeah,
court.
we're not gonna do that. We're not gonna argue like that. I think both
This
sides
is ridiculous.
has presented their cases. We need to get back to numbers on budget.
So I would like to ask again, just to make sure I understand. The numbers that y'all provided the judge are reflected in the budget today, and that's what y'all need. Y'all figured that up, and that's for the vests, the salary, and I know there's 2 commissioners that you're in to the step. Yes, sir?
The best are not actually in there. Like I said yesterday, 3 of us all have new vests.
If y'all wanna talk about stuff, talk about it open so people can, y'all passing a phone around is terrible. I'm sorry.
It says,
No, sir.
tell them what it says.
If Tom changed the question is, if Tom changed the salary yesterday down to 45, what is reflected in the budget today, not yesterday, what was presented to the commissioners yesterday was what the constables asked for. That's what I presented to the court. If the court went down to 45,000 for the constables yesterday and giving them the Tahoes that the sheriff had, that's what's represented in the budget today, the brand new numbers.
Well, anyway, to answer your question, the vests were not included in the budget. Like I said, when I took office, I was given a budget to go buy a new vest. I have a new vest. It's going to be good now for another 3 years, I believe. So they're rated for 5 years. So it needs to be added to the budget to where we get one allocated every 5 years.
Gotcha.
Okay. As far as the rest of the budget, the only discrepancies that we have that you're not giving us is the salary, which I'm okay with. I mean, I understand everybody's issues. I personally, I felt like we're the elected officials for a precinct. We should be the same as the other elected officials for a precinct level. Same as the JPs. And the only other thing was the vehicles, and I'm perfectly fine with getting the Tahoes from the sheriff's office that have 20 to 30,000 miles, as long as they're in good shape. Because that way we'd get them quickly and we could start doing our work.
Thank you.
I agree with you, Shake. If y'all want to drop to 45, that's fine. And none of us doing this job to get rich. $10,000 ain't gonna make or break this.
Yes, sir.
Give us the tools to do the job. If you like what you see, we'll come back next year and ask for more.
That's kind of what exactly we were basing it on. I'm glad that you said that. I'm really happy you said that's kind of what we were basing it on, because it's a new move. It's, you know, you're having vehicles and everything. Nobody's saying that you're not doing your job.
Just getting the vehicle
Yes, sir.
Like Fernando said, nothing was done for a long time. This is a great big step.
They are correct. They are elected officials. I would be easy to move it to 50. That's just my opinion on here. I know they do their job, but we do, this is my job. This is my job, and I appreciate y'all very much for y'all's job. But my job is to make sure that the county runs smooth and everything's going. So I will be asking y'all, I know like Fernando, Mr. Rios, Councilman Rios said that y'all don't have to turn in anything to us or anything like that. Maybe by state, by statute, by whatever, you don't have to, but out of respect for the Commissioners Court, it would be nice to everybody turn something in of what y'all do a month and stuff like that. And we're giving you a vehicle and we're giving you X amount of dollars more and all that. We would like to see something that I think the public would like to see that. I mean, how can we just throw?
Even just a computer would help that.
Uh-huh.
I don't even personally have a working laptop right now. Everything I do is on my phone.
Yes, sir.
I would agree with the 50,000. I think it's, to be honest with you, I still think that's a little bit low, but just based on their experience, I do believe all four of them are either master law enforcement officers or approaching that. And that's the one thing you can't buy is I guess experience for yourself. You have to earn that. And so that is valuable. And but I think the 50, just as Commissioner Rosales said, it gives us, and Commissioner Lissy, it gives us a benefit to go out and to raise the constables up to a point where we can start giving them more of a budget to help them do their jobs, to be more of an assistance within their precincts and our county together, because the constituents do need to have that. So that's my take on it.
Do the
I agree
55
with
or 50, yeah.
I agree with the 50, and I think we ought to put it in the budget for their
Best.
body armor.
Yes.
Of course.
As well as the cameras, body cameras. If they have the outdated body cameras, then we need to get updated body cameras.
I agree.
And do they need to, in the computer to download it? It's in the budget, but again, y'all probably gonna have a policy on the Open Meetings Act, Open Records request, however y'all gonna handle that, because I'm sure that'll come out of it too. But if you want to, I'll be happy with 50, as long as they get the body armor and the cameras.
Me too. We need to vote on it.
It's just gonna be an amendment for Tom, as long as he's got.
Y'all gotta give the thing to the paper today, so y'all
Right.
let me know what you're gonna do.
Because the constables, what we passed yesterday on item 6 or 7 was to publish the elected official salary. So with y'all, with not giving elected officials outside of the constables will need to be adjusted. And these need to be adjusted because Tom thought that all the elected were getting the 3%, and y'all said no yesterday.
I do have a question on the cameras. So with the cameras that are at the sheriff's office, I'm not sure how that all works, but are those picked up by the constables, and then do y'all go get y'all's own cameras, or is that going through the sheriff's office still?
What Commissioner, what y'all purchased time back, they're there now.
Yes, sir.
What they'll do is they'll have to check and see if they're still compatible to be used, okay? But just remember, if you have to replace them, you're also gonna have to buy the software that comes with it to download everything,
×4.
okay? Yes.
But they can grab those cameras, or is it like an exchange deal? Do you get some off, like a rebate if you return?
I don't know what brand or what they're gonna choose to order, but that's between them.
Can the cameras be updated?
They're brand new, yes, but if
Are those the same
for
ones?
some reason
or-
they need to replace them, yeah, that y'all purchased, yes.
They're not outdated, they're brand new.
Okay, so they'll have to take a look at it and see.
So the cameras that were bought for the
We've upgraded them since 2015, since we bought them, so they're brand new. So the plastic never been used.
So they need to go be picked up.
But we'd have to buy the software for them to.
Yeah, that's between
Okay,
y'all
that can-
and them.
Put that in there too, huh? Buy the software for the body cameras.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you.
Sir?
Judge, I made one comment on the vehicles. So Commissioner, Constable Rios, I just want to point out, in Wilson County, we went to DPS and bought used vehicles for constables because they were in the same situation y'all were, and it didn't help financially because we spent more money on repairs for those units. So by the sheriff being able to allow to do what y'all need to do, that's just so much more better than trying to buy surplus from DPS and all the repairs, and you have vehicles down that the constables couldn't use, and this is really worth it. This is a good thing.
That was never a question. We don't need to wade off in those weeds.
Judge, I think that's all I have. I think everything was great, thank you.
Yes, sir, I think it's all I got too.
Commissioner Dupnick, do you have any other
I
questions?
have nothing to say, Judge.
Tom, do you have all the amendments?
Yeah, I'm gonna visit with you, Judge.
Okay. And we will move to item number 7, discuss/take action on the proposed budget for fiscal year 2023, 2024.
How do you want to state it? Just
Approve
approve any changes today on it?
Approve the budget with amendments,
Those changes.
the amendments made in today's court to reflect the amendments made to reflect the amendments made in today's court.
That's my motion.
Okay?
Thank you, Judge.
Carol, do you have that through?
Yes.
A motion to-
Judge, I move, you want the motion?
You already got it.
I got it.
And it's a-
Who got the second? Lissy got the second. So, okay, all in favor signify by raising your right hand. Anybody opposed? No, motion carries. Thank you, commissioners. Thank you, elected officials. Thank you, department heads, employees. I appreciate all the help and I appreciate the input. Item number 8, acknowledge Commissioners Court will not reconvene to hold a special meeting budget workshop on August 10th. But we do have a meeting set, a special meeting set for Friday at 3 o'clock. And that is to address the Chapman Firm to put the $10,000 limit on Chapman Firm from Tuesday. So 3 o'clock, we will have a meeting that will be here in the 3 o'clock at the courthouse here, okay? Item number 9, need a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
Thank you.
And thank you, Judge.